Hello and welcome to my video on how to start up Unit 1 in 1.4.2. So first you want to turn off any offline cooling pumps, and then if both of them are on, you want both of them off. Then you go over here, turn the auto balancer, and this basically balances all the rods so it has a similar average thermal power. This is the Reactor auxiliary control panel, so you control your thermal power here. You just turn on this, which is automatic control, and you select the APRM you want. So ideally you want between 10 and 15, but for me I find 15% the best, as I can easily build up pressure and easily start up the turbine. With the recircs you would want to probably put them at around 28% each, but we will do that later. You would, over here at the turbine control panel, you want to put 100% turbine bypass and leave it. Turn on every single switch here at the main cooling circuit panel. You want one or two polishers, but they don't really matter which ones are on, and turn on automatic. Here you have the condenser control panel, so you want one steam jet air rejector at 100%, both condenser air removals on, both condenser pumps on, and put it to around 25%. This is the deaerator panel. You don't need to worry about it for now, but what you can do is just put it at 40% inlet and 80% outlet. Well, that's how I usually do it. With IPRM, what you can do is just literally put it to maximum and forget about it, because it won't scram you. It will just give you that, and then when you're at 10 or 15 APRM, it will just go away. But for this video I'll just do it with using this properly. So auto will never go below 33 seconds period, because at 30 it will turn on the low reactor period alarm. So let me show you where it is. So you probably are new to these two new buttons, acknowledge and silence. So silence just turns it off, and you still have this that flashes, and acknowledge does both, and it makes it go away. So if I use acknowledge, when it goes above 30 it goes away immediately. This master silence just silences all of the alarms on the panel. So if like we had offsite and there are like 10 alarms going off, you can press this and all the alarms will silence themselves. So right now you would probably want to put your V6 up, and watch IPR so it doesn't go high, and at around 75% you would want to go up a level. So 28% should do the job. When you're below 1 APRM, it won't show you anything. It will show you as 0 because you can't really count. You can't really tell how much thermal power you're making with the normal one. You have to use SRM before IPR, and then use this. Also, I forgot to mention this, don't turn on automatic control when you're not boiling, because when you turn it on, it will increase the value because the pressure is not going down. And if you do that, your condenser will open to atmosphere, meaning that it will basically make the pressure in the condenser go way up. And if your automatic is still on, then the automatic will continue to increase the value, but the pressure will not go down, because then you're basically making a vacuum. So that's the maximum IPR level, so we don't really have to worry about it now. And we're almost boiling. So as we're reaching boiling point, we're just going to let pressure build up over there. And I'll quickly explain the electrical pan. It may look confusing, but it's not. The dark red one is the off-site power. Well, actually, this top line is the off-site power. This is from the main generator or from the turbine. This is the transformer, which is startup transformer, which is powered from the off-site. The green is the safety bus, which powers all of these stuff. The red is the battery power. The blue is the ignition circuit for the diesel. So you need one of these on, and this should be green. You turn this, and then your diesel will start to increase RPM until 1800, and then you can power your safety bus and your battery. That frame call was for the demand that it has changed, if you didn't know. So we can turn on automatic control as we are above boiling point. So the automatic control will make the pressure be stable at around 55 millibars. So now what you can do is build up pressure so around 5,000 to 7,000 kilopascal. That's the high water level, so as we closed bypass, then the thermal expansion forces the water to expand. So there are two ways to do this. One of them is manually, so you just do this and then go to 3,600 RPM by yourself, and there is another way by using Turbine Auto RPM. So you turn that on, put to 3,600. Above 50 micrometers, your turbine vibration annunciator will turn on. So what you can do here is put it to medium, and it will increase it decently quickly. There are 3 points where your turbine will vibrate a lot, and it's pretty normal. Let me get the documentation. So at around 900 RPM, 2,100 and 3,200 RPM, your turbine will vibrate the most. So when we're at about 3,200, you'll see this go up quickly. So as you can see, it's gone up, as I've said. So now we are at 3,600, and if your rank is below senior operator, you don't need to use the synchroscope, and you can just press sync here. But as I am a inspector and I'm way above senior operator, I have to use that. But it's pretty easy, just wait until it goes to the green, and then when it's in the green, sync, and you're done. Close bypass, and turn on auto control. That's basically it for that. Now you can go over here, increase thermal power to 30, or maybe even 50. And now our demand is 850 megawatts. So we're gonna need around 80 thermal power. This button makes your auto control use recirc instead of rods. Yeah, don't forget to turn this on. To use your generator power. I forgot to do that. So now your deaerator will be going to the right temperature. So you're gonna have to watch it a lot. So you can open outflow to 100% and then just use the inflow in value to keep it at 108 degrees Celsius. You would want to keep your deaerator temperature between these two, so basically at 108 degrees Celsius, not too high, not too low, so then it is working most effectively. So we are over demand, so we need to lower our thermal power by changing the set point. Right, we have a malfunction, so we need to try and find it. It's one of the feed water pumps. Test this. Right, it's feed water 1. So as we are at demand, if you're a new player, you wouldn't want to try this yet. You would want to first learn what does what. And then you can slowly start learning each panel individually and how to manual it. So I'll just quickly explain each panel. So with reactor thermal power, this switch basically controls your average rod position. So when you insert it, you lower the reactivity. When you withdraw it, you increase the reactivity. With V6, it's pretty much the same as the rods. Lower V6, the lower your thermal power goes. Increase V6 and your thermal power goes up. It depends on your reactor type, but for this I'm using classic as this is basically the most simple one to use. With reactor pressure and the turbine control, basically lower this value, the higher your pressure will go up. Increase the value, the lower your pressure will go down. That's pretty much it. This steam relief just removes a lot of steam from the reactor, and you shouldn't use it when you're at demand like right now. It shouldn't really be used at all, really, but only if your pressure is very high and you have to use it. So over here, the main cooling control is probably the most confusing one, because it has a lot of switches, but it's easy to overthink it, but it's actually pretty easy. So I'll explain that after we get a new demand. And then we have the condenser. It's pretty much the same thing as the turbine. So 940. So we need to increase thermal power by a bit. So I'll just go ahead and do that manually. So you can either just use rod to do that, and then insert it to stabilize the thermal power. Or you can just use the reset to do that. Alright, that's stable. So let me explain main coolant control. So you have the hot well, which is bottom of the condenser. Then you have the deaerator, which is between the hot well and the reactor, and it deaerates the water over here. And then from the deaerator it goes to the reactor, which all the water gets boiled. It's basically the amount of water that gets boiled is this, the total steam flow, and it goes to the hot well. So the confusing bit about this is you don't have to meet the same flow as the steam flow, because if you do that, excuse me, because if you do that, you're basically taking more water out of the hot well than what the reactor is giving back to the hot well. That might seem obvious because it's by 1 kilogram a second more, but it's actually 21 kilograms per second, because you have to take into account the preheater flow and the deaerator inflow. So basically the deaerator inflow plus the preheater flow, and then you have whatever the number is here. So for example right now it's 1221, take away the 19 kilograms per second combined is the amount of water you should have inflowed into your reactor to keep it perfectly stable. So I'm just gonna fix that. You don't have to be perfect. It will take like a few minutes for you to actually realize that anything has changed. So right now we're stable. And you can see here, this is the hot well level, the deaerator level, which is the yellow, and the reactor level, which is the orange one. And you can see that is pretty stable. Now as you can see, our hot well is slightly lower than what it should be. So what you can do is turn on makeup, and then it will increase the level by taking the water from the condenser storage tank. However, now as we are above what we should be, which is 0.0 meters, you can turn on drain, which takes the water from the hot well into the condenser storage tank. And one thing I have to say about the condenser storage tank, do not flood it, because if you flood it, you're not gonna have control over drain, and then when you start up, all of the water will go to the hot well or the reactor or the deaerator, and then it will be flooded, and it's just gonna be very annoying to deal with. So with the condenser, it's very simple. All you have to do is literally, the higher the value, the lower the pressure. the lower the value, the higher the pressure. It's that simple. Well, people usually get confused by it for no reason. And I understand that all of this may be very hard, and this looks so complicated, but it's actually very simple. Just turn on the switches and then just increase or decrease this, and that's it. So over at this panel you have the emergency core cooling system panel, which is the RCIC, and the inlet value here basically lets all of the steam pressure from the reactor here to go into the RCIC, and then it turns this, which then pumps water from the condenser storage tank into the reactor, and the relief value basically sends all of the steam to the suppression pool, which then gets cooled and just the water disappears basically from the reactor. The LPCI is literally called low pressure injection system. Also, you can use description to know what does what. So as you can see, it explains what is what here. It's a good thing to use. So the LPCI only works when you're under 3000 kilopascal steam pressure, and it basically pumps water pretty quickly into the reactor, increasing the the reactor level. And when you turn this on, it scrams the reactor. So does the RCIC. They should only be used in emergency when you have no off-site power, because when you have off-site power, then you should use the main cooling control. The offline cooling pumps just cool the reactor. You can see what is labeled what. The HX is the heat exchanger, and all of this you can see what is called what. So as we are at demand, and we know what is broken, which is the feed water 1. If it's safe to do so, then you can tag feed water 1 by using this tag. And basically, let's say steamjet air ejector 2 is broken, you click on it and then it tags it, and then to take it off you have to click on it again, but for some reason the hitbox is very weird and you need to click it in a specific spot for it to get put on. Pretty weird. And then when you've tagged it, you go over here and you have the phone book, and you have to call the U1 maintenance crew, which is 0019. And then you can see what it says here, and quote, "Hello, this is U1 maintenance crew, how can I help? Please type repair to fix damaged equipment or leak to perform a leak check." So we want to fix a steamjet air ejector 2, so we want to say repair, and it calls it, but as it isn't the correct thing, damn it, I hate these things, and as it isn't the correct thing that is broken, it will untag it and you get no points. in a second I'll simulate what to do during a off-site power outage. So when we have no power to get when the off-site is disconnected from us, and we basically have to desync because all of the power we're making goes nowhere, and then it trips the turbine. You lose all the power as you can't island, and then you scram and shut down. But its landing is literally this: get to around 13 thermal power, get the turbine ready, so your where is this? So your where is this? Wait. Right, whatever. Your generator load, which is here, it needs to be below 100 megawatts for you to be able to island. And if you're not underneath 1000 and you 100 megawatts and you disconnect, your turbine will trip because it's above its capabilities. So when you're below 100 megawatts, you want to disconnect from the desync, and then keep between 3400 RPM and 3800 RPM, and make sure these two switches are connected so you're powering your site. Yeah, and then you just need to keep it alive. You can use the auto RPM to do it, to hold at 3600, but doing it manual is more fun. But if you're too scared to do it, just use auto RPM. So I'm gonna simulate what to do when you get hit with an offsite. So I'll just wait until the demand finishes, and then I'll do it. Also, by the way, you have this manual? No. Guide U1. You basically have this, and it explains each panel. So as you can see, it basically shows you what is what, gives you the description and so on, and it goes all the way around, and it's a nice thing for a new player. Right, new demand, so we're gonna hit offsite. Right, so you probably don't know what to do now. I need to make this quieter. This guy will call you. So what to do? Basically, RCIC 100%. You have to turn on this switch so you get lights. Start up your diesel. Damn, is that loud. As you can see, we're currently using less water into the RCIC and we're pumping more water into the reactor. Damn, I love the off-site power loss in Unit 1. So perfect but loud. Right, so as we are waiting for diesel, I might as well tell you about these pictures. This is someone's rabbit. This is Brit's dog, he's the community director. This is Dice's guinea pig, Goober. This is old Unit 1. This is a picture taken by me in Poland on the Przekorony. It's a beautiful mountain in the south of Poland. It's really nice there. It's a great place. It was pretty hard to climb. I took like 27,000 steps that day and then 14,000 the next day, so a pretty nice achievement for me. This is also from the same mountain, Przekorony, and basically you see this river down here. That is the Dunajec, which basically divides Czechoslovakia, I think. Wait, let me check on my map. I'm stupid. Ignore that I said Czechoslovakia, is actually Slovakia. So basically, over here is Slovakia, and where I'm standing is Poland. So I took a nice photo there. And over here, I was at this half colony, and we were riding bikes on the border. We were most of the time in Slovakia, but we were also in Poland a good chunk of the time. And this is the Przekorony. So all the way up here is where I was standing and where I took that photo. And then I just decided to take this photo, and now it's here. This is someone's nice fish and a turtle. I think this is crevettes. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. Turtle. So as we are at the correct RPM, we are powering the safety bus. So we can do turn on cooling, turn on relief, turn on the relief here, and it will remove a good chunk of the pressure, and it will cool your reactor to around 196 degrees Celsius, and then you just cool it. So now you just leave it, and you basically just do as it says here. You need to cool it to 50 degrees Celsius, and control rods must be at 0%, so all of these must be fully inserted as it is, because if it's not, then it will look something like this, and then that's not inserted, and you have to trip. So now you're just going to be waiting for the I hate that. And then, as I said, LPCI just pumps water into the reactor. So what you can do is turn this off, and then just use LPCI. And please don't flood the reactor to 5 meters or just leave the LPCI on. It's so annoying to start up because then you have all of the water in the reactor, and then the high reactor water level goes off, and realistically in real life you would basically flood the turbine. So now we continue to shut down, and all you have to really worry about is your reactor level and reactor temperature and your steam pressure. So just turn on bypass to 100% or the relief value on the RCIC, and then you just leave it and just wait. So we can basically, as we have pretty much no power, we don't need anything over here because it's not powered. We can call to fix speed water 1. So if we want to get the number again, and then it calls and then fixes. For every 1 malfunction correctly fixed, you get 100 points. However, if you, let's say you get 5 or 6 correctly tagged things and then you get 1 of them wrong, all of your points from here, they disappear. You don't get them because you got 1 wrong. It's pretty annoying, but it's a good thing that makes you actually learn how to correctly tag and know what is broken. That was the condensate polisher bypass open. Slightly annoying, there's 2 alarms for the same thing and they're both different. Also the water expansion physics are simulated in this game, so let's say even though you're boiling, you're still making steam, but when you're below boiling point, your water will contract and then it will basically shrink. So the hotter something gets, the more it expands, and that's simulated in here. It often takes quite a lot of time to shut down. Now on Discord I have a guide as to how correctly detect malfunctions in both units. So if you want to ping me, DM me or whatever, my name on Discord is the same as here, Kacper6060. So you can DM me or you can ask in the community server for the link to the docs. And most of the community is very much happy to help you. So if there are any questions, feel free to ask. I love the alarms, but by this point it's just taking it too far. Just 2 alarms for the same thing. And also, there's actually 3 alarms for the same thing. High water level here. High water level, reactor water level here. And high reactor water level here. Like really, like I don't need to know it in 3 different places and then go to each panel and then individually acknowledge them. But it is what it is. So you can probably see now how the water expansion physics is. I can actually show you over here. So you can see it go down, and that's from the water expansion. And this large spike here is from the LPCI being used. I think they made shutdown longer. It feels so much longer now for some reason. Also in here you have the Unit 1 classroom, and it basically says the trip procedure, all of the procedures. A nice photo. And this is Delfino in his plane. He's a private pilot and air traffic controller, so he has some stuff to do with planes. This is the Unit 1 diagram. Actually no, this is the Unit 2 diagram. The Unit 1 diagram is work in progress, but it's pretty much a similar thing here. Yeah, and it's still work in progress, so this isn't the last thing. So as you have shutdown, you got your points. What you can pretty much do is start up. Well, I'm not going to be starting up again, and that's all that I've done. I've explained pretty much everything, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask on Discord, and goodbye.